by clicking the link in the stream's description. The professor wants to hear from you.
Beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good car.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back, I'm focused on what's in front of me. Everybody dates a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm in good company. Isn't it lovely?
Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I am Professor Bear, and this is a Bear's Thought. And today, my sponsors, once again, I'm still stoked that I have more than one sponsor, so I must be doing something right. Quickly, I am going to talk about Nirvana Comics. They are a great comic book place here in Knoxville, Tennessee, but they are so good that they even do a service where they will mail you your comics. And if you go with that, you can get 25% off your entire order. And if it's more than $30, it's free shipping. So definitely check them out. And if you're anything like me, as a kid, I lived, breathed, and eat wrestling. So when I was younger and had a job at a certain place, I used to get these a lot. So I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna part company with some of it, but I needed to find a great place to do it. And I found Tag Team Toys and Collectibles in Clinton, Tennessee. They have so much great toys and collectible stuff that is just amazing. So if you're in the East Tennessee area, you need to stop by Tag Team Toys and Collectibles. And last but not least is Chops, Cards and Print on Demand. Again, I was a wild kid, so I was into a bunch of stuff. And another thing I just loved was collecting cards, whether it be it was comic book cards, it was wrestling cards, it was football, baseball, whatever it was. If it was a card, I wanted it. Then I got that crazy dream. I want my own card where I could be on it. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm lazy. I wasn't gonna do no sports, but then Chop saved me because they do personalized trading cards. When I tell you the quality is beautiful, man, it can rival any trading card company out there. And since you know, Professor, I'm gonna get you 15% off your entire purchase. All you have to do is put in the code BEAR15 and bam, you got your 15%. That's Chops, Cards, and Print on Demand. Your number one for trading cards and print on work. Now, with all that being said, all my guests are special, and I always start off that way. But this guest is someone who is not only beautiful, but she has a wealth of wrestling history running through her family. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't lie to you, my fans. I was super shocked that she said she would do the show. I'm like, what? I told my wife, I'm like, you ain't gonna believe this. She's like, really? That's good. Who in the hell is that? My wife ain't a wrestling fan. So, with all that said, I am so proud and thankful for her being on my show today. Let's give a warm and thank you to the Diamond Doll. How are you doing today?
I am so good. Thank you for having me here. That's a beautiful um, entrance to your show. Like, I'm starting my own podcast, so I'm learning about sponsors, and you're actually the first that started off that way. So right now, Professor Bear, you're teaching me something, and I'm looking up to you. So you're doing great. And of course, I would say yes to doing your show.
Well, I did see that you were starting your own. So again, honestly, and this is the reason why I was surprised, being that you are the daughter of the Dynamite Kid. I just felt like you, and this is and I'm talking about myself, but I'm not that big of a podcaster. My name is not known out there. So I was like, nah, she's getting better offers. And truly I understand. But when you said yes, I was like, oh wow. I know I'm starting to pick up steam and stuff. Because I see you so many different places. You have been doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, and this, I always ask every one of my guests, which this one is a dumb one, considering who you are, but how did you get started liking wrestling?
Of course, yeah, just being born into it. I knew no different. Probably at a young age, I really gravitated towards Miss Elizabeth. So maybe it wasn't necessarily like the wrestlers. Well, no, because there was wrestlers that I liked, but I definitely gravitated towards Miss Elizabeth. And, fast forward years later, I always idolized her and I became a wrestling manager. So I knew no different. I'm born into it. My father was a professional wrestler, grew up with the Hart family in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we are surrounded by it. So everywhere we went, there was a wrestling ring. So all his cousins were always rolling around and, calling what wrestler we were. And I was always Miss Elizabeth. So I think I just always really gravitated towards the glitz of her and the beauty and her subtleties. And yeah, I just absolutely loved her. I got to get to know her backstage as a little girl. So how could I not look up to her?
That is amazing. One thing that I was kind of curious about, growing up in your family and being so surrounded by what I would say are celebrities, because most wrestling fans look at wrestlers as celebrities. Were there any like, you can't mess with me? Don't you know who my daddy is? Don't you know who my family is? Did you have any of that growing up?
I think like in elementary, people definitely thought it was cool. Like the guys thought it was cool. And junior high, I mean, I have different stages of like, yeah, don't mess with me kind of thing. In high school, was it high school? So I was in grade 9, and then here in Canada, where I'm from, junior high ends at grade 9. Then you go into high school at grade 10.
Okay.
So at that time, my mom was a single mom and renting out our basement to wrestlers that were here to train in Calgary. Not sure if it was like with Kent Shamrock, I think maybe something like that. I'm not sure exactly where they were training, but so a bunch of the wrestlers rented out our basement. They lived with us. So that was my junior high going into high school. Test, Edge, Christian, they all rented out space in my basement. So me going into high school, people were trying to frosh me. And also my cousin Jade Hart, Brett's eldest daughter, was a year older than me. Right. And everyone's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Like Jade and all her older friends came, stuck up for me. Tess literally was like, do I need to come down there? Like he came down, was like, you're not touching her. Like he was like my big brother. So I'd say those were my coolest moments of like being protected by, because some people will be dicks and be like, oh, you know, wrestling's fake and that's your family and things like that. Of course, you get that side of it too. But there were super cool moments where in Calgary, especially, we're like, yeah, we're celebrities here. Like you feel pretty untouchable.
And
But my
definitely,
dad, of course, he was like, because it was early 80s. He was,
right.
we were too young then, but it was more like my uncle and Hart family. And that kids were like, oh, as we got older.
Well, and it's understandable. Again, just again, the name value is, to me, it's like anytime you mention anything that have to do with Hart in Canada,
Yeah.
that's end all be all. So when did you decide, you know what, I really want to start getting into the business?
So my father and I lost touch for about 15 years. And I reconnected with him after I had my first child, my first daughter. So she was born 2008, and it was about 2010. And I was a grown up now. I'm like, I have a credit card. I can travel because I'm in Canada. My dad was in England.
Right.
And there, get the newspaper and I saw like a seat sale to like go to Manchester, England. And I'm like, wow, it was like really cheap. Like maybe I should do this. And that's the time like Facebook came around and I was reconnecting with my family in England. So my cousins, my uncle, but I hadn't seen my dad, talk to my dad. So I'm like, should I do this? Should I come see you guys? Like, should I reconnect with my dad? Because I felt like I was a parent now, but something really felt like it was missing. And I think that part of me was like, it was my dad. Now that I was a parent, I could understand like not being perfect and doing the best that you can. And so I really felt like I just wanted to reconnect with my dad to become whole again. So I ended up going out, went with my cousins, stayed at my cousins. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll have the guts to like see my dad, but let's just see what happens when I go. And I ended up reconnecting with him, and I'm going on a tangent now. I don't remember what the point of my story was. The question was,
when did you decide to get into the business?
Wanted to get into the business. Okay, that was my point. So I do go reconnect with my dad. And after reconnecting with my dad, I went back to Calgary and things fell apart with the father of my child. And I was like, I want to date a wrestler. Like, this is so stupid, but that's how my mindset was. I was like, I'm reconnected with my dad. Like, I'm connected to the business. Like, I should be married to a wrestler. Everyone in my family, that's how it was. Aunts, my mom, everyone. So I start going to local wrestling shows. And I ended up dating this guy. And that's how I ended up managing. So there was a Stampede wrestling tribute show. And he was going to be wrestling on it. And it was just going to be a one-off. So like, you can walk me to the ring. It's just for your dad, like a tribute show. He was in the Battle Royal. So just walk me around the ring, get your Miss Elizabeth. Like, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I've never done this before. We made promo photos. We came up with a name, came up with the Dynamite doll. And I had so much fun that one show that I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing out on my whole life. Yeah, that was really fun. I'm going to come back next month. So I just kept going. And that was like 2013, I believe, was my first show. So after I reconnected with my dad in 2010, I just felt it in me that it was something that I had been ignoring and pushing off. But it was always there and I wanted to be involved somehow.
Right.
Of course, it didn't work out with that wrestler. And, there was a little bit time in between when we broke up that I was like, and he had a shoulder injury, so he stopped working. But I'm like, why aren't I in there still? Like, I was watching my girlfriend. She started managing her husband at local shows. I went to go support her, and then I was just getting the itch, like, I need to be in there. So I just went up to the locker room, and I'm like, hey, like, who wants a manager? I'm back. So that's how it all started. And it's just been if yeah, just many, many different people that I've worked with. I've worked with big names. I've worked with different wrestlers, different provinces. I'm branching out into different parts of Canada and branching out to the States. And, my goal next is Japan, hopefully, and more conventions in the States would be great.
So, with reconnecting with your dad and you feeling like, well, and let me rephrase it. It sounds like to me that you have always had that itch in the back of your mind, but you didn't know how to get there until you actually connected with your dad. And I think that gave you the courage. It's like, okay, I'm back. I know me and my dad are on solid terms. Man, look, I've been wanting to do this. Okay, I did this. Let's go for this. Is that safe to say?
I feel like it was almost like respect to him, maybe, or like, I don't know if it was always that. Well, it definitely was in high school. When I left high school, I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? It's 18 years old here, graduate high school. And then that's when I decided I wanted to be a wrestler. And shortly after that, like I wanted to be a wrestler, like an actual wrestler. Shortly after that, my dad and I had a falling out, and that's when we stopped talking. And then it was like wrestling's a big, like a soft spot. It's, so I didn't, it was almost like I ignored it. I pushed it away. So when I reconnected with him, it was almost this like, in honor of you, I want to like keep your legacy alive. And it just felt right to be involved in something he was involved in, but I didn't have to do it his way because also I'm a female, he's a male. And I didn't want to be a wrestler, but I knew I wanted to be involved somehow. And a few years after that, I even went back. I did some shows in England, a couple of shows with Harry Smith, my cousin, and stayed with my dad that trip and told him all about it. And so we got to share that together, which was nice before he passed away.
That is great to hear. I was gonna save this question for later, but I have to know now. What are your thoughts on your cousin wrestling and taking up your father's mantle?
I love it. I mean, if anyone can do it, I think it's him. He looks just like him. He moves just like him. And it's not like I'm doing it or my brother. So like, why not be Tom? Everyone thinks Tom is my dad's son. Everyone thinks Tom is my brother. And everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Everyone does that. It's fine. It's my cousin.
I mean, because he looks like the split image of your father, and like you said, his mannerism, the weight.
His screams, yeah.
I've watched wrestling since I can't remember how old. I was a baby, and I I do a lot of research and watch a lot of things. Like the British Bulldogs were one of my favorite tag teams when I was younger. So I've watched your father, and then getting older, finding out, oh, he wrestled here and he did this. So I had a lot of chance to watch a lot of tapes and things. And then when I seen your cousin, the first thing came on my, holy crap, it's his son.
Yeah.
It has to be. I'm like, he is the split image of him. His movements, everything is so much the Dynamite Kid.
I know. Genes are a funny thing.
So
I'm very proud of him and just getting better. He's still so young.
Yes, and every time I get a chance to watch his matches, it just and I'm kind of worried this way. I like to see the next generation of a family when they come in. I like to see them do tributes, but have their own style and do things their way. But with Tom, he it's a throwback, and I'm
Yeah.
a big throwback type of wrestling fan. And if you can do it well, and he had a match, and I can't remember his partner name, and they wrestled FTR, and
Hmm.
I swear I thought I had went back to the 80s to see the Bulldogs versus Arn and Tully.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
that
They're super,
amazing.
super tag team throwback as well. And so
Yeah.
that's why they love Tom. They've like taken him under their wing, and yeah, they see that in him as well.
So let's get back to you. So you are branching out. Like I said, I've seen you in so many different places, and you are just so amazing.
Thank you.
You are also a throwback to a valet who can take over the room. When you're there, your people know you are there. Is that something that just is natural for you, or did you have to work on those mannerisms, I would say?
I really appreciate that. I think I'm not sure how to answer that because I remember when I first started wrestling or like being a part of wrestling shows, sorry, I was like preparing to get married. And so I'm like, okay, I had anxiety of all eyes on me. So I thought, okay, my first managing show, the one I was talking about, I'm like, this will prepare me for everyone at the wedding looking at me. Like I'm the one, everyone's heads turning. And then once I finally did it, I was like, wait, I love that. And it just became very like I love fashion and I'm all a part of like or I'm big on gimmicks and the ring attire, the entrances. That's like part of my favorite part of wrestling is all that, you know, the entrance music, the accessories, like that kind of stuff, the theatrics. And
Right.
I think that I always had it. Like I've always loved fashion, but I just had to do it once and then be like, okay, I can do this. So now it just it comes naturally to me, I think.
And I would have never guessed in a million years that you are nervous in crowds because again you are so let me put it this way. I went to a wrestling show Saturday, and there was a young lady there at ringside. She was helping out. She was taking pictures. The first match they had was a hardcore match, so they had to take time clean the ring. She was everywhere, and she caught my attention and kept it throughout the entire show. She didn't take away from the matches, but she was such a part. Like she would talk to different people in the audience. She was cutting up. She would interact with the wrestlers, threatening to hit them. She just had the it about herself. And that's what I see with you. It's always there. You never overstep. You never are taking the shine off the wrestler. You are enhancing them. Even if they don't realize that. It's clear to see. And like I said, it's such a natural thing. And it's like no one has to, again, this is just my uh thinking. No one has to tell you, hey, you got to be here to do this. Hey, we need you to do this. It's like, I got this. Don't you worry. I'll be where I need to be. I'm gonna make sure if he's supposed to get booed, he's gonna be booed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I go in there, I get the lowdown. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got this. You know, get your couple spots and boom. But thank you for those kind words. That means a lot to me.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it
again,
took time to get there and to feel that confident in my skin and just believe in myself. So
yeah, I definitely understand that. So, you say you have no desires to wrestle.
mm-mm. No, I mean, I mentioned before the give and take or like the no, not give and take, but back and forth of I love wrestling. I don't like wrestling. I love it. Like where I just couldn't ignore it anymore when I finally got involved. But it was because my dad ended up in a wheelchair. My dad ended up, having several surgeries at a very young age. I saw him in pain all the time growing up. He essentially took him away from the family life that we had here in Canada and took him back to England. And so I grew up without a dad. So like I hated wrestling for all those reasons. So once I finally started liking wrestling again, that was in the Attitude Era. And it was Trish Stratus. So it was like kind of that era that pulled me back in, seeing these super strong females like Lita and Trish. And I was like, okay, what's this? My little sister was watching wrestling and she'd watch Monday Night Raw, I think it was. And she loved the Hardys and Lita. And I saw Trish and then I just started idolizing her. So that's what pulled me back in. But I never wanted to, that was high school. So that was high school when that happened. And then that's when I was like, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to become a wrestler. And then my dad and I had a disconnect. And then I hated wrestling again. So then when we made up, I was like full blown, I want to be involved again. Very weird, but that's my story.
Well, it's not weird. I don't take it as being weird because you grew up in the business and you said it yourself. You seen where your father couldn't do things because of wrestling.
Yes.
Then he left. So it's appointing you is like, well, I feel like wrestling has taken my father away.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to reconnect, and it's like, okay, wrestling may not be as bad as I used to think.
Yeah.
So to me, it's only natural for you to feel that way.
And of course, ringside, I see injuries happen. And since I've gotten involved, I've always been a mom. So I'm like, well, why would I start taking these crazy bumps and risk injuring myself? And yes, I want to be there and I want to be involved. But this is my way. And I'm going to be there to support whoever I'm managing because I've seen injuries and I've helped out after matches and, all that. But I just don't want to put myself through it. I'm aging too. It's like I can twist my ankle and it's game over. No more heels.
And again, that's so understandable.
Yeah. I'm just happy I found my place because it was hard figuring out like, am I worthy? Am I just a joke? Like I felt like that for so long because I wasn't wrestling. But now I feel like I know myself. I know what I bring to the table and I just have to believe in myself and the audience and the locker room will believe in me too.
And that is so true because again, you have your fans out there, and I always believe in saying what's truly on my mind when I do interviews. I am a fan of yours, so again, that's why when I reached out and you said yes, it was like what, and so I see so much that you're doing and the things that I think a lot of fans do not understand that wrestling is not just the two athletes going against each other. The referee plays a big part. The commentators play a big part. If it's a valet or a manager outside, they play a big part. Yeah. There's a big part of wrestling that is honestly a team effort.
Yeah. There's photography, there's videography, there's backstage interviewers, there's podcasters, like there's so many layers.
Yes, and that's why for me, I want to have so many different people in different areas of wrestling so fans can learn and be more appreciative of people. And I believe people should get their flowers while they're alive and can smell them. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, where have you been doing the wrestling show that you said to yourself, okay, I love this wrestling. I'm never coming back there again?
Oh, God. I don't know if I can say that out loud. There was one recently.
Okay.
Yeah. I I haven't done a local show for about a year because I'm just kind of working on internationally and working on my podcast and like just a lot of things on the go. And the local shows are like weekly, so it's like really I have a full-time job. I'm a mom. Every weekend there were shows, and it wasn't paying off the way I needed it to.
Right.
I haven't done a show for a year, but I agreed to do a show recently, and I won't say any names, but I'll just say it was local. And it was the worst show I've done ever. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So thank you for reminding me I don't need to do local shows. Not saying that, sorry, any of my real Canadian wrestling fans, or not fans, promotional people that watch this. I'm not talking about you. I love you. You've been my home. It wasn't you. And I respect everything you do, but the schedule is too much for me. But yeah. This other one was just god awful. And I get there. The doors were supposed to open at 6. The ring wasn't up yet. They didn't know how to make the ring. The ring didn't show up. So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, it ended up, the doors opened, or the show started 2 hours late, and the show ran for 1 hour, and the ring was so dangerous.
Yeah. I would have probably been a little irritated.
Yeah, I know. Never again.
So, what's the reverse of that? Where you were there, it was the greatest thing. It's everything that you imagine. It's why you are in the business, and you will be back.
It's Battleground Championship Wrestling in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena. I just went there last weekend for my 3rd show, and that's shown me like what wrestling should be, could be. I love it. Of course, spoiled with the historical venue. But not only that, like the promoter is amazing. The locker room is like all family. The fans are so loyal and yeah, I just loved it. Love all of it.
If you had the opportunity to sign with one of the big companies, AEW, WWE, would you do it?
Of course. Yeah.
No hesitation.
Absolutely.
So then, with that being said, what is your ultimate goal in wrestling?
Honestly, it's been just to like find my own way in wrestling, separate from my father, because like I said, I'm not a wrestler. I didn't step in the ring that way, but the end goal is to get my dad in the Hall of Fame. So everything I am doing, I'm promoting his name. I started my podcast with the hashtag Dynamite Kid for Hall of Fame. Everything I'm doing is to keep his legacy alive. So just building that foundation for my kids growing up, my nieces, my nephews. Anything I do is just helping keep my dad's name alive. And I would love to go to Japan. That'd be probably bucket list for me.
That is amazing. I love the fact that you have the mindset of it's bigger than you. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Yeah.
What was it like to be in England to do your first show there? What were you feeling, and how did it turn out for you?
It was great. We did 2 different shows, and like there were 2 different towns. So we got to like do road trips, for England, that's a big deal. Here we'll do like 3-hour drives to the next big city. No problem. But in England, they don't do that. That's like a big deal for them to do. So we drove like 3 hours from town to town and had a van. And so that was super fun to do. And it just felt cool that like I was staying with my dad, and I told him I was going off with Harry to do this. And so it meant a lot. They were just small indie shows, but the first show was really, really cool. They have like where they throw their think it's UK Wrestling, I believe. I believe that's what it is. They have their shows, that's like their school and everything. So all their posters, the big banners up all over. And they had banners up for that show of Harry and I hanging at like the front doors. And they're still in there today inside now. So I know some people that go there and they'll send me pictures like, hey, you're on the wall. And so that's super cool. It was just really fun to do. They were small shows, but just to do that kind of indie circuit in, the country my father was from, and with his tag team partner's son, that like meant a lot to me. We were like baby bulldogs on the road. It was fun. It was cool. Love to do more of that.
That is so cool.
That was a long time ago. That was what, 14 maybe? Yeah. Well, can you give me one sec? My cat's scratching.
Yeah.
He's such
problem.
a jerk. Come in. You're so neat. You want to say hi? Oh, yeah. He always has to say hi. Yeah, he's a monster. Say hi. Oh, where's your face? There it is. Oh. Pretty much, he comes on every podcast, so this is the norm.
There is nothing wrong with that. You got to have something that stands out for you when you're podcasting. I've learned.
Well, it's just, he's not obsessed with me. If I close the door, then he scratches until he can come in. So
he's having to make sure mommy's okay.
Yeah.
With your legacy in the business and everything that you know and you've seen growing up and everything, where do you think the business is in a good place and is continued to grow, or what is your feelings about the business?
I mean, I like with WWE now how they're like actually able to go work other promotions. Natalia, for example, is branching out and doing different things with like the Josh Barnett and as Natty Neidhart, and the big companies I'm not watching as much, but I love that the indie, like the smaller kind of, not indie, but like TNA and stuff like that, they're kind of, I feel like they're building, which is great. So I feel like there's more opportunity for like the smaller companies. And I've always loved that more like indie vibe. It's just more, not as scripted. And so I like to see like the little dogs, succeeding.
Myself, I always say that I'm a big indie believer. Every show that I do,
your stars like starting off, right? Like that kid's going to be a star.
Exactly.
To see.
Exactly. I love to see people get a chance and to do their craft. I love to see. Sometimes, like when I went Saturday, it was one point I just sat back and I was not watching wrestling. I was paying more attention to the crowd and everything, the vibe. It feels like almost like a family reunion. That it's like, oh, we're cousins. I ain't met you, yes. And then
it is a society, yeah, like a secret society.
When the kids get to meet the wrestlers for the first time and you see their smile and their energy and how great the wrestlers are with them, that is something that I love about the indies, that you can actually touch and get to speak with the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it's just a different, like you said, a different vibe. And
I love that. Yeah. Because not like if you're at WWE, you're not going backstage. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So,
I love indie wrestling.
Oh yeah. How do you feel, again, being who you are and everything, when you go out to different province or different states to do your shows, and people are wanting to talk to you, just like, oh my God, you're you, and oh my God, how does that make you feel?
Um, I mean, I'm super humble, so I'm just very interactive with the fans and humble and appreciative because I know it's all about the fans. There would be no show, there would be no merch sold, pay-per-views bought if it wasn't for the fans. So I'm very appreciative and I love the fans. And that's why I love Philadelphia. The fans there are like just so loyal and well you know. Well you probably know.
No,
They're like the biggest, like the most loyal sports fans in the world when it comes to their football and their baseball and now I'm
I,
learning wrestling. Yeah.
I definitely have had a few trips to Philadelphia, and yeah, it's funny because sometimes it's like Philadelphia. If it's not Philadelphia, they don't care.
That's true.
Uh, so where? So I'm gonna pivot a little bit
Okay.
with your podcast. What is your goal with your podcast?
My podcast is just different outlets because I kind of stepped back from the local indie shows, like I said, and wanted to focus more on it was taking too much time away and I felt like it wasn't paying off enough. So I was like, I wanted to do this podcast for quite a while, but then I stepped into the indie wrestling scene here heavily, like committed, right? I was like, I'll go to every show because I want to show how committed I was. But then I didn't have time to do the podcast that I was talking about doing. So I pulled away from that and I wanted to focus on something that just involved me. Because as a manager, it was always me and a wrestler. And I was always like struggling to find the right fit. Often with being a wrestling female manager, you're like dating the wrestler, and that wasn't the case for me. So it was just always hard to find that vibe with someone. And so I wanted something where I didn't have to rely on anyone. So that was, yeah. And I just wanted to, and I'm very social and just try something different.
So, what is your goal with your podcast? What are you going to be focused on?
So it's loosely wrestling based, like basically right now, well, wrestling based. I say loosely, but it's wrestling based, but you could be, maybe you're, like you mentioned, like maybe you're a referee. Maybe I met you through wrestling because of this. Maybe you were a security guard at a wrestling show. Maybe you're a wrestler. Maybe you're the promoter. Like just kind of, maybe you're a wrestler's child. Like that kind of loosely based wrestling is what I had in mind. I love music. I love wrestling and fashion. So I just thought kind of, not that I'm well, fashion. I'm not interviewing anyone in the fashion world, but just mixing all my interest in one and talking about it. Like I like to, so far, everyone that I'm interviewing for like my teaser video, I'll incorporate their favorite band because that's how much I love music. So I just want to like bring the music aspect that way. And
Right.
we'll talk about music, we'll talk about fashion, we'll talk about wrestling, and just anything. Yeah, just showcasing everything I'm doing and well, the end goal is Hall of Fame. So
That's great. I am doing something special in January. I am doing a wrestling podcast appreciation month. And I would love for you to come back and we can talk about your podcast.
that would be great. Yeah, I'd love to. This month,
So,
I'm like, this is the month. I have no shows this month, nothing else. I'm just focusing on the podcast this month and probably December and then see what the new year brings. So that'd be perfect timing.
that sounds good. Once we get off air, we'll talk about that.
That's
But
great.
one thing, another thing I wanted to ask with with everything going on and you doing so much, how is your daughter taken to mommy being a wrestler?
Uh, I mean, she misses me when I'm gone. So yeah, she's being
Of
super.
course.
Yes. But again, it was that was kind of why I decided to do more. I pulled away from the every weekend independent scene because she was missing me every weekend to the maybe it's every 2 months internationally. And I'm just working on my podcast. So that's why I kind of changed it that way. So I have more free time with her at home. So but she loves everything that I'm doing. And when I go to sit down for my podcast, she's like, good luck with your podcast. And she always says cute little things. And she's an entertainer herself. So she gets it.
I was going to say, I'm waiting on the episode where you and her have
Oh,
I just know it's going to be amazing.
absolutely. Yeah. She'll be a little singer.
Um, I guess my final question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope that I am like self-employed, an entrepreneur, don't have to have my full-time job. I can just do everything that I'm doing with my Dynamite World. I actually was working on my website today. So all my merchandise is going to be there, all my links to everything, stuff like that. So yeah, just everything that is Dynamite. I'm calling it Dynamite World. So it's not just Dynamite Doll, it's Dynamite World because I'm also keeping my father's legacy alive, and they are in the works of making a movie on him. I don't know if you knew that. So
I did not.
yes, so that's huge right now. So I'm going to be going to Manchester for the big wrestling convention in February for the love of wrestling, and I'm promoting the movie with the UK movie producers.
Oh wow, that is tremendous to hear. I cannot wait to be able to see it.
Thank you. Yeah, so within 5 years, that's already going to be done. So like my dad is going to be in the Hall of Fame probably after that movie comes out, and I will just be running my own podcast, maybe my own promotion. Like I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening. Big things.
So funny enough, you brought that up. Would you like to have your own promotion?
Absolutely. I've always thought about it. But there's just here in Calgary, it's like there's too many little promotions and it's just so I think I have like the bigger picture, like internationally. I feel like there's just more opportunity out there. So
Well,
collabing with people, like even my podcast, I'm collabing with X Brand Wrestling. And so they're going to be a huge part of my journey. And we have lots of things in the works and we're super excited.
I'm super excited for you. I um I want to take the time to tell you thank you um,
Thank
for everything that you do for the wrestling business and for keeping your father's legacy alive and going. Um, you have done such tremendous work, and again, I'm so humble for you to be here, and I thank you so much for just being you and living out your dreams, because you living out your dreams helps us fans enjoy wrestling that much more, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun and lovely meeting you and can't wait to come back.
All right, thank you. Well, before we get out of here, you have to give shout outs. If you want to give your social media, the floor is yours, man.
Yes. So the best bet at this point is on my Instagram. So you can just look up Dynamite Doll. I have my link tree on there. So it has all my links right now. And like I said, right now I'm working on my website. So that's also going to be very informative with merchandise, all my links to everything. We're doing like Billington legacy. So you can like read up on my family, all that fun stuff. It's going to be awesome. And of course, I run my father's Instagram. There's lots of that's in my link tree as well. But there's lots of exciting things coming up for him, the movie and just merchandise. And I'm podcasting, I'm vlogging. So there's gonna be so much, but you'll be able to see everything on my Instagram and it'll connect you everywhere.
Again, thank you so much. And Again, we are definitely going to have to do it again. And you have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on my show, you're more than welcome. And
And
if
I'm
you
really
need,
trying to get out your way. It's actually bucket list for wrestling. So
and hopefully, if you get out my way, hopefully I'll be able to meet up with you in person.
absolutely, that'd be great.
And if you need any advice, because I definitely have messed up for everybody, enough for everybody in the business. I know some things you do not want to do.
Yes, in Tennessee or on the
Oh,
podcast.
just podcast, period.
Yeah.
Oh, but oh, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Guys, girls, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will be back again around the campfire for another great story. And please remember, go and support your local wrestling. Again, I will beat this drum until I have to buy 7 more. Indie wrestling is such a great atmosphere, especially for families. Your pricing is reasonable. You get to enjoy, you become a part of the show, and you get to meet and talk to a lot of different wrestlers. And you never know who you meet today down the road could be a world heavyweight champion in WWE, AEW. You just never know. So please, please, please support your local wrestling. I am Professor Bear. This is a Bear's Thought, and we are out. Have a great evening.